Okay, so next level lead. Next level lead. I'm going to give you guys some stuff. We're going to go over a lot of stuff tonight, and it's going to be a lot of information. So take notes if you have to, but do know this, that anytime you want to go back and reference some of this stuff that we cover in this class, my intent is to always videotape as well as audio tape every class and to upload that onto our website. If you go to our website, www.reachlcf.com, then you can go to the very bottom of the page, and in the menu or whatever that's down on the bottom of the page, you'll see the next level believe, next level live, next level lead links down there. If you press on the next level lead link, it's a passworded page. It'll prompt you for a password. The password is the same as the website. It's Reach LCF. Just simple Reach LCF. Okay. So REACH, L as in Larry, C as in he came in late, and F,
See, I'm here, lady.
F as in frankly, I'm happy you're here.
Yes,
And
we
so,
are.
LCF, or Reach LCF. And so that's the password to the page, and you can go on there, and there will be links to the classes, links to the videos. And so this is orientation to begin with. Every week we'll have a sign-up sheet, or sign-in sheet, I should say. It looks like that right there. We'll pass a sign-in sheet every week, and we'll need to sign in. We can get this real close to the camera there. Right there. It's got each week, if you guys have been to any of the next level classes, then it's just like those sign-up sheets, or sign-in sheets, I should say. Go ahead this first time and write your name down the list right there on this column. And then there's week 1, and you'll notice there are 4 columns to each week. 1 is class. That's this class. Were you here? If so, check the box. Were you not? Next week, don't write an excuse in the box. Don't write an A for absent. Don't write an explanation, whatever. All I want is checks and blanks, okay, on this. It makes it a lot easier. Service, SRVC, means service, okay? That means, were you at the Sunday service previous to the class? So in this case today, were you at today's Sunday morning service? Okay, if you were, check the box. The next one is, it says cell. Cell is just our cell groups, our small groups. You can call them small groups. A lot of people have different names for them. Were you at the group that was previous to this class? So let's see. Kristen is in Tammy's group. Okay, Tammy's group, my wife Tammy, her group meets on Wednesday nights. So this past Wednesday night was Kristen at Tammy's group. So we check it if so. Okay, and then Devo. Devo means devotion, right? And so, did you do your devotions this week? Okay, and kind of the benchmark for that. I say if you do 4 out of 7 days of a devotion, okay, then I would say check. If you didn't do 4 out of 7 days, then you probably need to be in the Word a little bit more, right? And so that can look however you want it to look. You can go through a devotional book. You can read the Bible for a chapter. You can read a whole book in a day. I mean, that's wide open. You can have a memory verse for that day, or whatever the case may be. Whatever your devotion looks like, I'm giving you some wiggle room. I'm not spoon feeding you devotions for every day of the week or whatever, right? And so, whatever that looks like, if you've done your devotional for 4 out of 7 days of that week, then go ahead and put the check mark. So that's pretty self-explanatory. There's 4 columns for week 1. There's 4 columns for week 2, week 3, 4, 5, and so on, just like that. They're even color-coded to separate them out for you. It makes it just about as easy as I can make it. So if you have any questions about that, let me know, and I'll go ahead and pass that around. Put your name on there and take care of week 1 right now. And as we go through this orientation, then some of the benchmarks for past criteria or whatever we'll cover in that. So, all right, orientation. We went over the sign-up sheet. Next level lead, which is this class, is the third class in a series of next level classes. For those of you who guys that don't know, we're going to be covering a lot of vision, a lot of the things organizationally that we do as a ministry during this class, and the whys behind it, and a lot of the intricacies behind what we do as a church in this class. And so this is one of those things. Next Level Lead, again, is a third class of a series of 3 classes, okay, that is a process. If you guys look on the wall around you, there's reach, connect, train, and send, okay, that's what I call the process, and we'll go over that a little bit later, but Next Level Lead is a part of the train process in what we do, okay? So Next Level Lead covers the vision in great detail, as well as leadership issues pertaining to LCF and your Christian life in general. Okay, so it's not only as it pertains to the church organizationally, but there's a lot of things also that pertain to Christian life, even outside of the walls of the church. Okay, a little bit of both. There's Encounter Weekend, Next Level Believe, Next Level Live. They're all kind of before this class. They're not necessarily prerequisites, so to speak. They used to be when we first started this. It was prerequisites, but we quickly found out that that wasn't a good idea. It was good to have on-ramps, and so we'll discuss that a little bit too. If you've not completed these, we encourage you to do so. If you haven't completed Encounter, actually there's pre-Encounter, Encounter, Next Level Believe, Next Level Live, Next Level Lead. Some of you guys have completed most, and even in some cases all of the rest of those. And so we encourage you to do so if you have not already. Or if you have done some of it, you're welcome to repeat them as well. You're welcome to, if you've done one of them and you want to just audit one particular subject, say you missed it last time around, or say you have just an interest in a particular part of it, you're welcome to come and audit that class from now until eternity, or all of them. It doesn't matter. And so, anyways, the importance of this class, this class specifically, as I said, covers a lot of the intricacies of the vision of our church and the way we do ministry, the way we reach people, the way we disciple people, and the way we pour into people, and kind of the structure. Anytime you get a group of people together to do anything, to pull anything off, you have to organize them. You have to do something to get everybody rowing in the same direction. Like even Jesus, when he fed the 5,000, he told the disciples, hey, go organize them in groups of 50. Right? And so here they are organized. Can you imagine 12 people taking 5,000 people that are standing there and going and organizing them in groups of 50? Right? That probably was a great undertaking. Mm-hmm. And then after the fact, going around with baskets, taking up the leftovers. Right? And so you can see that even Jesus in his ministry, though it was very grassroots in a lot of respects, there was a lot of organization that went into that. And so we're going to cover some of that. We're going to cover some of the heart behind our vision. We're going to cover some of the method behind our vision, what we do and our process and discipleship and things like that. And I'll be honest with you guys, as we go through this class, I'm glad you came back to this. I think you've done it before. I'm glad you came back, because this class is going to be the first one to receive some of the changes that I'm kind of filtering, that God's doing some things even in my heart as a pastor as it relates to discipleship and following Jesus and things like that, just philosophically that he's kind of birthing in me. And so you guys will be kind of some of the first ones to get some of that I'm kind of in beginning to incorporate in this class. So pat yourselves on the back and give yourself a hand and say, woo, thanks for coming. All right, so the importance of this class, to hand off leadership to people, they must have a thorough understanding of the intricacies of our vision and strategies, as well as some basic leadership training. One of the biggest things, used to, when we first started this process, the prerequisite for this class, which used to be called School of Leaders 2, the prerequisite for this was that you had already gone through pre-encounter, you had gone through encounter, you had gone through School 1. Okay? And all of those were prerequisites. You could not step into the class if you had not taken those. Now we've kind of changed it because by all rights, if somebody came to the church in February, we had already done Encounter Weekend, then they had to wait an entire another year before they could even start the process, and then it would take them a year to complete the process. So if they wanted any leadership role, they couldn't do it for 2 years by all rights. And so, yeah, it wasn't a good idea. So now there's on-ramps to every different stage of the game, so to speak, right? But some of the nature of the importance of this specific class hasn't changed in that we cover the same material largely. We've added some, we've kind of taken some away, we've changed a little bit here and there, but this being called, there again, next level lead. Everybody say lead.
Lead.
Right? So this is by all rights, this is more of a leadership type class, right? And so you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through this, but this is the class that's designed to hand off the leadership of what God has entrusted me as a pastor to do in this region. Right?
Yeah.
That's huge. When I had the realization of that fact, I'm telling you, it hit me with a ton of bricks. It hit me with a ton of bricks to know that, okay, God's called you to this region to do this work. Okay? And as a pastor, I'm talking about me. God's called you here to do a work, to oversee something, to accomplish something, to steer a group of people, to affect a region with the kingdom of God, and He's given you a strategy to do it, and He's given you a directive. Now, give it away. What? Give it away. Well, I better know that the people I give that away to know how to do it. I better know if I'm going to steward the directive that God's given me in this region and to do the work that He's called me to, I better know what's in the people that I have executing that at any given level, right? And so that's why this class is so important, because this class, there again, covers the intricacies of what God's called us to do in this region and how He's directing us to do it. And so I need to know what's in you guys. I need to know what I'm training you guys to do and train you to do it just as effective as I can. And so that's why this class is so important. And that's why you'll see as we go through this that there's some elements of this class particularly that are different than Next Level Believe, than Next Level Live. It's almost like this class kind of ups the ante a little bit. And so if you've stepped into Next Level Lead this go around, and this is your first one out of the gate, you've not had any of the other ones, on one hand, I'm sorry this seems so serious, right? But on the other hand, take consolation in this, that once you get this one done, it all gets easier from here. And but I don't mean to be hardcore, but that's the reason why I'm hardcore about this particular class. The rest of them we're not quite as hardcore about, but this one, hey. So take one of these down, pass it around, and I will say that all of these classes, all of these papers that I hand you, all the paperwork and things and the notes and the fill-in sheets and whatnot there will be links on the websites as well for this class, and so you'll kind of learn about that as we go also. So these are the benchmarks, and there again, because I need to know that you guys have it in you, right? I've been able to put this stuff in you. We do have benchmarks for this class, and we count this class, the people that come out of this class, we count and give you either a pass or a not pass. We won't call it fail, but we'll just call it a not pass or a not complete. You've either completed and passed the class, or you've not completed the class. And so there are things that you're able to do by way of leadership in the church that you have to have completed all of the process in order to do these positions in our church. There are certain positions that they don't require all of this. to do, but then there are positions also that they do, right? And so it just kind of depends on what you're doing in those positions as to what you've been able to complete or what you've been required to complete. And so let's go over the benchmarks real quick. In order to call yourself completed this class successfully, you will have had to, number one, attend all the class sessions. Everybody say all.
All.
All means all. Okay, I looked it up in the Greek, Hebrew, the Italian, French, Spanish. All still means all, right? So attend all class sessions. Now, before you freak out, oh my gosh, I have this coming up, I'm going to be out of town. Before you freak out, read what's in the parentheses. 2 unexcused absences are allowed during the course of the 8 weeks. That's unexcused, okay? Obviously, situations of emergency, of you had to work, like the Papes, they're on shift right now, they're working. I can't really hold that against them, right? They couldn't help that. I understand things come up, emergencies happen, whatever, and so I get it, right? But all classes, even in the unexcused category, all classes, all, right? What's the meaning of all?
All.
All classes must be completed via audio or video. And both of those will be linked on our website, in that website that I told you guys about for this class, Next Level Lead website. Okay, so if you miss a class, go on and either listen to the audio or watch the video and complete the fill-in sheet. When you complete the fill-in sheet, you give me the fill-in sheet next week. I'll give you a check mark that you actually completed the class. Okay? And so, if it's not written, it didn't happen. That's a good old saying that we have in the fire department. If it ain't in writing, it didn't happen. So, you come to work, you sign yourself into work, you complete the logbook, whatever. That's the way we know you actually got something done around the firehouse, because you wrote it down, right? In a report, if it didn't get written, it didn't happen, right? Same goes for here. If it's not written, it didn't happen. Okay? So, 2 unexcused absences are allowed during the course of the 8 weeks. If you really think about it, remember the importance of the information that I've given you to the vision of the church, right? Think about that. 2 out of 8 weeks.
A lot.
Yeah. 2 out of 8 weeks. You get up to 3 out of 8 weeks, and that's almost half the information. That's like almost half of the vision of the church that we're missing, right? So you can kind of see where I'm getting these numbers and how I'm kind of formulating these things, right? All right, so number 2 of the benchmarks: attend Sunday services regularly. There again, 6 out of 8 in the duration of this course. There are positions, there again, some of the positions in the church of leadership that we require these classes for require that the person pulling them off or holding that position be able to be faithful in attendance, in church attendance. Not only on Sunday morning, but then to maybe if you're going to lead a discipleship group. That means you're going to have to be faithful in your church attendance on Sunday morning, and you're going to have to be faithful to your class, right? But then also you're going to have to attend a class as a disciple, right? How are you going to pour into somebody else if you're not being poured into, okay, right? So that's just one example of one of those positions. And so we look, is this person like coming to church regularly? Because if they're not, there's things that by all rights they shouldn't be trusted to just hand off leadership to, right? And so that's why that's there. 10 services regularly, 6 out of the 8 in the duration of the course. Number 3, be plugged into and attend a discipleship group and be being discipled. Okay, there's a difference in attending a discipleship group and being discipled, right? So I can attend a group and be unteachable. That means I'm not really being discipled. I'm just a warm body in a chair, right? Part of the thing of leadership is that we're teachable, we're humble, we're able to be poured into, we're able to be molded, right, and shaped. And so if we're not that, then we can't give somebody that, right, and disciple somebody else in that. And so that's why that's there. So discipleship will be verified by your discipleship group leader or by the person that's discipling you. If Amy tells me that, and I hate to point you out and embarrass you, but if Amy tells me that my wife Tammy is her discipler, then I need to ask Tammy, my wife, hey, is Amy to being discipled by you? Are you able to disciple her? Right? And that's how I really know she's being discipled. So it needs to be verified by your discipleship group leader or the person that's discipling you. Number 4, complete any given assignments during the class. There's not that many assignments. Don't freak out when I say that. There is some homework, and most of the homework is just kind of studying a couple things that you'll need to remember at the end of class, but it's not this huge course load like you're taking a college course or anything like that. So don't freak out about that. It's nothing big, okay? And then number 5, be faithful to your personal devotion time. Again, 6 out of 8 during the course of this 8-week class, and that's all according to the sign-in sheet. And the sign-in sheet, by the way, that we don't verify it. It's all just the honor system. So if you lie, may your camel catch 1,000 fleas. So 6 out of 8 on there. It's verified on there. Number 6, begin to serve a function on one of the 9 teams. That says 8. We've updated since then. One of the 9 teams that correspond to one of your top 2, or I'll say depending, maybe even 3 functional gifts. And if you don't know what that means, you'll find out in a little while. Okay, so that is the orientation for this class. Almost there is. No, that's the benchmark. Sorry. Continuing the orientation, classes will be online in case you miss one, and you need to review. You may go back and complete the class online. If you're absent, you will be given credit for the missed class when the work is completed. Okay, and so this is for excused absences only. If you're, just didn't feel like coming, and you go and fill out the sheet and give it to me and think just because you didn't want to be here that I'm not going to count it that you were actually completed the class, because I need to see you being faithful to something, right? And so that's part of the point of handing over leadership. The Bible says this. Paul wrote. He said, "Commit what I've taught you. Commit to faithful men who will teach others also." Right? And so this is one of the benchmarks that he's looking for to do this is faithfulness. Okay. So class schedule. This is the class schedule. You can take this down and pass it around. You'll see that this class, which is a rarity, this class, this time, is 8 consecutive weeks. Bam, 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 bam. We're going to knock the thing out like quick. I'm like, yay! And so that's the class dates. It's the class subject matter. It's the syllabus and the schedule. It's got the teacher that's going to teach you the classes. Some of those possibly may change. Like next week, I'm going to be out of town, so I'll probably have my wife or somebody else teach my portion of the class. And so, but for the most part, that's going to be what we do. If there are any changes that come that actually make a difference in what you guys do, say for last minute we had to cancel class or whatever, I'll let you know as soon as possible, give you as much advance notice as possible. And so there you go. And so that's the class schedule, the syllabus. Communication for this class will happen through CCB. Y'all know what CCB is?
No.
I knew I'd see a lot of head shaking. CCB is our database, okay, for our church. It's our church database. And in our database, how many of you guys got an email for this class that said, hey, we're having next level. If you want to sign up for next level, press this link and fill out the info request / enrollment form. How many got that? Let me see your hands. Okay? All right. So if the rest of you did not get that, that either means, number 1, I don't have your email address in CCB, or number 2, your communication preferences are checked that you don't want to receive emails from our church. Okay? So it's one of those two. So I would tell you this. If you did not get that email, because I sent it to the entire church email list, all right? So if you did not get that, you may also want to check your junk mail, okay? That's one other possibility. Check your junk mail. and see if you got it there. But if you did not get that, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, see me after this class, and I can make sure that you're set up. Okay? If I can just quickly, I won't sit down and set you up tonight necessarily, but if I can just quickly grab your name, grab a password that you want it to be, grab your email, then I can put all that in there. Chances are we already have your name in there, okay? But maybe some of that other information may be missing. And so just see me after the class and we can get that taken care of and so forth. But CCB, there's a group on CCB for this class specifically. In that group, I will have a calendar. I will have all of these handouts posted online that you can go and print off or whatever. There's even a spot on there that you guys can conversate back and forth about different things, whatever you want to conversate back and forth about. If you have a question about something, you can post it up and somebody else could answer the question or give their feedback or whatever. Y'all can say Scott looks like a nerd, whatever you want to say. And so there's that. You can go on there and you can browse around. I'll send emails through that. I'll send text messages through that. So this class communication will happen through CCB, emails, and text messages. So I need to make sure that I have all you guys' email addresses, that I have all you guys' phone numbers, as well as not only your phone numbers, but in CCB, you have to check which phone carrier you have, because in order for the database to send an email or send a text message to you, it has to go through your carrier, and that carrier has to put it to you. And it's way over my head and this techie thing, but it matters. Like if I check that you're Verizon but you're an AT&T, you won't get it. I have to check the right one. Okay, so I need to know what carrier you're on. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. What this class is not, and this is the last thing about orientation. What this class is not. Just because you complete this class doesn't mean that you're going to be pressured into leadership positions and tasks that you do not want to perform in the church. Okay? I know this is called Next Level Lead, but just because you've been through this class doesn't mean I'm going to hound you to lead stuff. Right? So if maybe you're sitting here and you're kind of apprehensive, oh my God, this is more than I really signed up for. Relax. I'm not going to be beating down your door wanting you to start a ministry, like send you to Africa, okay? Not going to be saying, hey, I'm going to be out of town next week. I want you to preach for me. So just relax. It's not necessarily that. Okay, now, will you have the opportunity to lead stuff and so forth? Possibly. There again, depending on your gifting, depending on your passion, depending on your faithfulness, depending on your life, blah, 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 blah. All this, right? Depending on all that, you may or may not have the possibility to do whatever. And there's 1,000 different things in ministry that you can do. And I do probably about 999 of them in various times. So, obviously not all at the same time. But the second thing of what this course is not, okay? Just because, I'm going to just read it like it is, just because you complete this class also does not make you entitled to a leadership position within the organization. There are many reasons which people may not be ready for various positions of leadership. There is no way to cover all of them in an 8-week course. This is one reason why our discipleship groups are such a big part of our vision. Many people require time, mentorship, and accountability in order to be groomed for organizational leadership. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just going to add just a footnote to that, and that is this. Even in this church, I have given leadership over to people before. High levels of leadership, spiritual leadership. Given those levels of leadership over to people before that have not been ready for that. Okay? And I've learned the hard way in some cases, that if you give away leadership, spiritual leadership especially, to someone who is not ready for that, then number one, it can destroy them.
Amen.
You are inviting, to whatever leadership degree that you step out in, you're picking a fight with the enemy is really what you're doing, right? And if you're not ready for that fight, he will kick your behind. Like I've lived it. He'll kick your butt if you're not ready for it. So you're picking a fight to whatever leadership level you go to, okay? And for me to hand over that leadership level that you're not ready for is really me being negligent, right? And so my ultimate goal is, number one, to look out for your best interest in giving or withholding leadership from you in various aspects of ministry and organizational leadership. And so number two, if you're not ready for leadership, you're bound to shipwreck somebody else around you that you're leading. Okay? So my second goal is to protect the people which you're leading. Okay? And so that's why I say, just because you completed this class, you're not necessarily required to lead anything. But just because you've completed this class, you're also not entitled to lead something, right? Because there's all these other issues that have to be considered. And so with that, that's our orientation for this class.